Hi, my name is Sumi Verma, and this is my introductory presentation for ITCS 3688. So here's my presentation. Just a quick introduction to me. So I'm a third-year computer science major at the University of North Carolina, Charlotte, and I'm an AI robotics and gaming concentration, though I'm mostly just focusing on the AI part of that. And I'm also considering getting a master's. So why computer science? If I'm being totally honest, when it came to picking like a major for college, I didn't really have a clear idea of what I wanted to do, but I did know that I wanted to be in a field where I could have a lot of options for what I wanted to work on and where it was never really boring and very set in stone what I was going to end up doing. So I ended up picking computer science because I knew that it was needed in almost every industry. Like if you look at this picture that I have here, these are just like some of the fields that end up using computer science in some way or the other. And computer science also has a huge impact. I think anybody who's just been alive in the past 20 years just knows this by looking at the news and looking at the world around us. Technology is like just changing the way that we live very, very quickly. And then also computer science allows problem solving and creativity. And I think that's something that I need to really be satisfied in a career. So what fascinates me about technology is again just the application of it all. It's a part of everything. It controls like weather forecasting, like vaccine research, cars, how businesses use their data, like everything you could think of. And I think if you are a part of like innovating that technology, then you can choose to make a really positive impact for people. And also, it's just like really cool to see all of this happen. I've kind of always been really into science fiction, so it's like seeing that come into real life. So, being ethical in the field of technology, I think this is something that's really important for people in this field to think about because I think when you work in tech, you have a lot of power, and with great power comes great responsibility. So, a lot of times you have to think about the implications of what you do will lead to. So, one of the first things is considering trade-offs. So, like, for example, you're creating an algorithm and you might be able to create a more efficient algorithm if you end up using some more personal data of somebody or like breaching national security in some sort of way. You really have to stop in those moments and think if like a more efficient type of technology is worth that trade-off. And then secondly, not misusing data for personal benefit. Obviously, I think like we've seen this in Facebook and like a lot of social media companies. I think it's like really messed up when people don't really make it very clear how your data is being used, if your data is being used at all. And I think if you work in tech, you have a responsibility to disclose that. And not only disclose that, but just be like the way that you express it, have it be accessible to all the people who use your technology. Like they should understand what's happening with their information. And then being aware of unintended effects. So this is just like the racial and gender biases that can be seen in a lot of algorithms. Like one example is Amazon used like this resume creating algorithm, which I think they like fed in a bunch of previous resumes and like resumes of already Amazon employees. And they found out that that resume algorithm was like very, very discriminating when it came to women and was basically like considering women who applied as just being lower tiered. Thankfully, they don't use that anymore, but that's just like one example of algorithms that can just be horrible or like be very discriminatory. Because obviously, this is like an AI application. It's just taking in the data and based on how the person has programmed it, it's just crunching out an answer. But as humans, it's our responsibility to kind of like put that into place and be sure that it's being used how it should be and fairly. And then lastly, questioning the effects of the technology we create. So an example of this is facial recognition. facial recognition is already like under the works, fully there. But one of the things that you might have to think about when it comes to facial recognition is like, again, how is this information being used? Are people being granted privacy? Is there bias in this kind of work? Is it fair for the general public? Things like that. I think we really have to consider the effects of what we do. So why should a company hire me? Here are some points for why. I think the first thing is I'm just very ready to like ask questions and learn. I'm not afraid to say I don't know, because I know that like the sooner I say that, the sooner I get to actually learn what I don't know. And then next is I love challenging myself and continuing to grow. I think this is just like interesting to see how much I can learn. And I've been doing this since like my very first year. I think like yeah, I started participating in hackathons within like the first 3 months of my freshman year. And I knew absolutely nothing about coding whatsoever. But I knew that like if I went to a place where I didn't know anything, I would at least come out knowing more. And I think that was like the first place that I even learned like Git or things like that, which I don't think you end up learning in class until like a year or 2 years later. And then like another example is like even this semester, I'm competing in, not competing, but like I'm doing research, which involves supercomputers and machine learning. And I don't really honestly know anything about supercomputers or machine learning, but I think it's cool. And I think I would like to learn about it. So I'm just placing myself in a position where I'm kind of forced to grow and learn that. And then next, I'm good at taking the initiative and leading. I think ever since like school days, I've been in a lot of student organizations and student clubs, and I've been like part of executive boards. So I know what it's like to lead a group of people and communicate something and like figure out how to move as a team. And then lastly, I'm really committed to figuring out the root problem and building the best possible solution. So, what experiences and skills will I bring? I've spent 2 summers working in a tech company, so I think I have a pretty good grasp of the workplace cultures and norms that are usually in a tech company. Like things like scheduling an Outlook, I don't know, appointment and like sending certain emails, what kind of messages you have to send. I've also been like assigned projects and I've been assigned like weekly and monthly tasks. So I know how to deal with those tasks and I know what a manager usually expects from me and how to communicate that with the rest of the team. In a technological standpoint, I have experience in both front end and back end. So in the front end side, I know TypeScript and React, or like I've worked in that. And in back end, I have experience with C Sharp. And then also my work from both summers are in production. So I think I have an idea of what it's like to like start a project and then like fully publish it and have it like in the public domain, like have customers and users interacting with it. And then also, I'm familiar with a lot of terms and norms in tech companies. So, like sprints, scrums, like the types of releases and pipelines, submitting my code for code reviews, things like that. I am mostly familiar with. And then what makes me stand out from other students, again, I'm comfortable asking questions, and I'm also used to collaborating and communicating with like a very diverse set of people. So I've successfully worked together with other teams. I've worked with mentors in my team. I've worked with managers, managers of my managers, coworkers who are also interns, or maybe like have graduated and are older, recruiters, etc., all of that. I've also worked together with strangers from around the world in virtual hackathons, like during COVID when real hackathons were really a thing, and personal projects. And then most importantly, I think I'm just very used to being a beginner because I've gone through the process of onboarding and have had to like see like this 1,000 like such a big repository with so many things that I know nothing about, and then just kind of learning the things that I need to learn, and then also like learning how to install new technologies and work with new technologies and how to ask certain questions to get the tech to work the way that I need to work. So mostly I think I'm just confident in producing the same results over again. I'm confident that I can, regardless of where I'm placed in, like maybe it's a company that's totally different field from what I've worked in, but I'm confident that I would be able to learn that again because I have the skills in order to do that. And that's it. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed. Here's my LinkedIn link if you want to connect. And yep, that is all.